When did it become normal to fight law enforcement? When did we decide that blocking officers, ignoring lawful orders, and using cars as protest tools was somehow brave or moral? Because what happened in Minneapolis didn't come out of nowhere. It's the predictable result of a culture that has spent years eroding the idea that law, order, and boundaries matter at all. Now let me be clear before anything else. A woman lost her life. That is tragic. No loss of life should ever be minimized, politicized, or celebrated. But here's the uncomfortable truth that we have to face. Tragedy does not erase responsibility, and sympathy does not suspend cause and effect. What we're really arguing about right now isn't just one shooting. We're arguing about whether laws are optional, whether police authority is conditional, and whether compliance is now considered oppression. Because somewhere along the way, we crossed a line. You have every right to protest. You do not have the right to physically obstruct law enforcement from carrying out lawful duties. That line matters. Standing on the sidewalk with a sign is protesting. Blocking vehicles, surrounding officers, refusing orders, and inserting yourself into an active enforcement operation is called escalation. And escalation has consequences, sometimes irreversible ones. Let's talk about the vehicle for a moment because this part keeps getting ignored. A car is not a megaphone. A car is not a sign. A car is legally and practically a potential deadly weapon. Officers are trained that sudden vehicle movement in a chaotic situation signals danger. Not after the fact, not with slow motion replays, in real time under stress in seconds. Once a vehicle starts moving during a confrontation, the situation has already escalated, whether that was the intent or not. And this is where people get it twisted. Following lawful orders in a volatile situation is not submission, it is de-escalation. You don't argue constitutional law in the middle of an arrest. You resolve the dispute in court after everyone goes home alive. Ignoring commands doesn't make a point, it raises the stakes. Here's the bigger picture that explains why moments like this keep happening. Imagine an office where the rule has always been, be at your desk at 9 a.m. But for years, no one enforces it. People stroll in at 10, 11, whenever. Eventually, the rule stops feeling like a rule. Then a new supervisor comes in and says, no, this rule actually matters. We're enforcing it. Suddenly, people are furious, not because the rule is new, but because they got used to ignoring it. That's exactly what we're seeing right now. Immigration law didn't suddenly appear. Law enforcement authority didn't suddenly become real. What changed is enforcement after years of inconsistency. And when enforcement returns, people treat it like tyranny. You can oppose immigration policy politically. You can vote. You can protest peacefully. What you cannot do is decide on the spot, the law doesn't apply because I disagree with it. Officers don't write the law, they enforce them. If enforcement itself becomes illegitimate in the public's mind, then order collapses and chaos fills the gaps. This situation did not have to end this way. It didn't have to escalate, it didn't have to involve a moving vehicle, and it didn't have to turn chaotic. But once lawful orders are ignored and officers are put in perceived danger, the outcome becomes unpredictable and sometimes tragic. That's not cruelty, that's reality. Here's the question that we should be asking ourselves. If we keep teaching people that defying police is somehow virtuous, that blocking enforcement is heroic, and that escalation is justified, how many more tragedies like this one are we willing to accept at the cost of this mindset? Because a society without boundaries doesn't become freer. It becomes more dangerous for everyone.
As it plows into two cars that were parked on the street there.